All right. So we are given this example, okay, just to use so that we can discuss on how to make treatment of the accrued expenses and prepaid expenses. So now, on 1st January 2018, the following balances, among others, stood in the books of this person. There is the lighting and heating account that had the debit balance of 192, insurance that had the debit balance of 1,410. Right. So 1st January, we are starting the year. These are opening balances. Is that clear? So when you observe this, first of all, I should be quick to indicate that the lighting and heating and insurance accounts, these are expenses accounts, okay? That's why they have the debit entry. You know that they have, the expenses have debit balances, okay? So the closing balances thereof were debit. Now, during the year that ended on 31st December 2018, the following related to these two accounts as follows. So there was all this information. And what are we required of doing? We are required to write up the accounts for lighting and heating and for insurance for the year ended 31st December 2018 and carry forward the necessary balances to 2019. That's what is happening. So we're just trying to do all that. So let's see what we do now. Let's see what we are doing. Okay. So we are writing up the accounts. That's what the question is saying, isn't it? We're writing up the accounts. So we open up the accounts for lighting, open up the account for insurance. We can start with the insurance one. I've already indicated to you how you treat these payments, right? I've said that for prepayments, they should be subtracted in the profit and loss account that is under the expenses from the respective expenses. For example, if you have a prepayment on wages, it means you have paid your workers in advance. As a result of the same, you deduct that from the sales from the wages, sorry. When it comes to the balance sheet, the prepayments are a current asset, okay? They are current assets, therefore, they should be written under the current assets, the prepayments. The accrues, they should be added to the profit and loss, okay, to the respective expenses. For example, if you have an accrue for rent, it means that there is some rent that you have already incurred, but you haven't yet paid. And as a result of the same, you are supposed to pay it. So what you do, you add to the rent that particular amount accrued. When you go to the balance sheet, the accrued expenses shall be what? Shall be treated as the current liabilities. Is that clear now? Is that clear?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
So we can start with insurance account. So all those expenses that involve the insurance account will be recorded under insurance. And so you are told that the insurance started with the balance, the opening balance brought down from the previous period of how much? The insurance 1410. All right. So how much are there? How much are the amounts? So it is amounting to how much? So it is amounting to the insurance. The debit balance is 1,410, right? 1,410. So that's the debit balance. 1,400 and what? as the opening balance, okay, for insurance. So let's start reading now. We are told that during the year that ended 31st December 2018, the following information related to these two accounts as follow. So there was the fire insurance of 1164 covering the year that ended 31st May. Okay. Right. So you go ahead. What do we find? We have what do we have? Let's see what we have. So we see that there was an expense, there was fire insurance, okay, that is the 1164. That was covering the year that ended the other year. So this is an example of a prepayment, okay? It is an example of a prepayment. So now, being an example of a prepayment, it means that these people, they did pay already in advance, okay? So now, since they already paid in advance, what do we do, actually? What are we supposed to do? These people already paid in advance. So it's already an, like, look, the prepayment that they made is for the year that is ending in what? In May, like the other year. So there is already the other part that they have what? There is already the other part that has already been incurred. Okay. So there is a prepayment of some about 5 months. But since we are closing the year in December, the adjustments for this entry will not affect our entries, because the entries will only be affected when you start making adjustment the following year, because we'll have to start deducting the prepayment that has been made already, like just for that period. Remember, this payment was made in what? In December, you get, in December. So it was recorded under insurance. But what is there? There is some small portion thereof that goes to the other year. So the other small portion was affected when we start making adjustments the following year in 2019. So as a result of the same, you have to debit the insurance account by the same amount, the fire insurance. Whenever you incur an expense under insurance, you will debit the insurance account with the same amount, the 1164. So the insurance account has been debited. We are also told that on the second, the second transaction, the general insurance that is amounting to 1,464, covering the year that ended 31st July 2019 again, was also paid. So there is also again an aspect of some amount that was paid. It's more like a prepayment. You paid an amount of 1,464 as general insurance, of course. Just that as a description, general insurance. So you have to record that the 1,464. 1,464. So you record that 1,464. This was under the general insurance. You just record the amount. Then you are told that there was an insurance rebate of 82 that was received on 30th June 2018. Okay, there was a rebate of that amount. Okay, that simply means, what should that mean? What does an insurance rebate mean? Maybe it's for you just to understand, to get it properly. What do you understand by that? by that statement? Anyone? What do you understand by an insurance rebate?
Some sort of refund.
Some sort of refund, isn't it? Right. So it is deducting the expenses, right? If we have that, it means the amount of the expenses that we have are being deducted. So you do the opposite entry. You're going to enter that amount to the credit side of the insurance. You get the point? The expense for insurance has not been incurred. When the amount has come back to us, it means, because when you pay for insurance, that's when you make the debit entry. Like, it means you debit the insurance account. But now that you have received the amount that pertains to the insurance, you make the opposite entry. You are making a credit entry of 82. So you're making a credit entry of 82, and then you add all the. Can we close up this account by summing up both sides? Let's sum up both sides and see what it is totaling up to. See how much it is totaling. It's adding up to. We can add the debit side and see the biggest amount.
$4,038.
4,038. 4,038, the biggest amount. What is the balance carried down? You subtract 4,038 minus 32.
3956.
3956. 3956. The same will be the balance brought down on the other side. And you can see that it has the debit and the debit balance. These are expenses. They have the debit balance like that, because on the trial balance, they go on the debit side, isn't it? Of the trial balance, all expenses have a debit entry on the trial balance. Lighting and heating. All right. But lighting and heating, debit and credit, we are told that there is an opening balance, which is a debit entry of how much is that? The opening balance is of 192. There is an opening balance of 192 for the lighting. And we want to read anything that is related to lighting and heating, electricity, all those. So we are told that electricity bills of 1,300 were paid. So I relate the electricity bills to the lighting and heating of the company. Okay, so how much, what do we do? So when you make a payment for an expense, you debit the expenses account. So you're debiting the what's this? The lighting and heating account for with the electricity bills, so with the 1,300. And then we are told that there was also an electric bill of 162 for December 2018. that was unpaid. These are accrued. Now, like the unpaid amounts, these are accrued expenses. So accrued expenses, they are also part of the what? The expenses. You get, ka? They're part of the expenses. So what you do when you're making maybe the general entry for this one, not really made. Like when you're making the general entry for this, for the accrued expenses, you debit the expenses account for the same, and then you're going to credit the payables account. Okay, there is a payables account, the same. So you are going to debit this account of ours. Now that we have an accrued expense, we will debit we will make a debit entry of 162 to the same, because that same one is relating to lighting and heating still. Electricity is relating to lighting and heating still. So 162. Always when you think about lighting, relate that to the bulbs or what, heating, what, like you use electricity for such. Okay. The oil bills of 810 were paid. Okay. The oil bills of 860 were paid. Which account can you post this transaction? In the insurance account or in the heating and lighting account?
Heating and lighting.
Heating and lighting. So we paid the expense 810. So 810 is still coming this side, 810. You can write the descriptions here. And so there is this last transaction that we have here. We're told that the stock of oil as of 31st December 2017. Yeah, so this one will not make any change because this is outside the period, and it will not. It will have no effect actually. It will have no impact on the entries that we are making. You've seen this was it was a stock of oil in 2017, 31st 2017, like when it started. So it has nothing to do with the transactions that we are doing. Okay. And so you balance up the account. You total up both sides. Okay, so you can total up the debit side since you just have the debit side. What is the total amount?
Sorry, sir. The accrual of 162, do we not indicate it on the credit side as well?
The accrued expense. Doesn't it mean that accrued expense has to be paid? Is it not an expense? Like it is adding to the expenses?
It is, yes.
It is adding to the expenses, right? So it's not deducting, like it's not an entry that is deducting the expenses, because the credit entries are just those entries that we are making, which can lead into the that lead to the deduction of this amount that we have. We are not deducting, yeah. We are still going to pay this amount. Like we have incurred this amount, we need to pay this amount. That's why even in the profit and loss statement, the accrued expenses are still added. Like, because they are treated as the expenses that have already been incurred. You get? Okay, does that help?
Yes, sir. It helps, yes.
2464 as the total and 2464 as the total. The same shall be the balance carried down. 64 and the 2464, the balance brought down, because the expenses accounts always have got the debit balance. So basically, this is how we would make the entries in such accounts, and you don't suffer, you don't panic very much. Okay.
So sir, on the on the same the previous, the one that you were balancing. So that does it mean that the account is now fully balanced, or it is not? It has to be posted in the balance.
It will have to be posted in the trial balance, like yeah, it will have to be posted. But the question was not asking us to post it to the trial balance. Just said
yes, I understand that, but I'm just trying to take advantage of this.
for understanding sake.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that same account now need to be posted to the trial balance.
Trial balance, yes.
Yeah.
So because me, the way I was, I'm so sorry for dragging you out of the topic. So for me, what I was thinking was the way it was, you don't have to post it to the trial balance. Why? Because it is already, me, I always, I used to take it, it is balanced just like that. It doesn't need to go to the trial balance.
No, there is that balance. Oh yeah, those balances will have to be posted somewhere, and that is in the trial balance.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember when I was teaching you on how to extract the trial balance? We used to balance up the tier accounts, then we post them to the trial balance. Still the same thing.
But there were some accounts whereby they were like they're balanced, so that we were not posting them to the trial balance. We would only post those that were leaving the balances. But now for this one, I was getting a little bit confused. No wonder why I was just trying to take advantage of it.
Are these accounts balancing? They are not balancing this, they are leaving the balance. You know, the accounts that we are not posting are those that we are canceling out. Like the debit side is equal to the credit side. But none of this account is in such a format, right? They all have the balance brought down. So they are they are all going to the, you understand?
Trial balance. Yes, sir.
Yes. Those that you are talking about are those where when you sum, the debit side is equal to the credit side, then, and they are not going anywhere. You understand? They are not balances. Yes. Okay? The balance is zero. So you can't take a zero balance to the trial balance, yeah?
Okay, thank you. Understood.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.